The ultimatum. The council chamber was silent. 12 alien beings sat in their massive chairs, looking down at the single human who stood in the center of the room. Ambassador David Chen wore a simple black suit. His hands were behind his back. His face showed no fear. The chamber itself was enormous. The walls were made of crystal that glowed with soft blue light. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star maps and data streams. This was the Galactic Council Station, the most powerful place in the known universe. Chen had been standing there for 30 minutes, watching the aliens whisper to each other in languages he could not understand. Finally, the council leader spoke. His name was Vortek. He was a massive creature with purple skin and 4 arms. His eyes glowed red as he looked down at the human. Ambassador Chen. Vortek's voice boomed through the chamber. The Galactic Council has reached a decision about your species. Chen said nothing. He just waited. Vortek pressed a button on his chair. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed Earth, the small blue planet hanging in the darkness of space. Then the image changed. It showed human ships moving between planets. It showed mining operations on asteroids. It showed human colonies spreading across the solar system. In just 50 years since discovering faster-than-light travel, humanity has expanded more aggressively than any species we have ever seen, Vortek said. His voice was angry now. You have militarized your entire star system. You have built weapons that violate 17 different galactic laws. You refuse to follow our guidelines for new species. The other council members nodded their heads. Some of them made strange sounds that Chen guessed were agreements. Another council member spoke. Her name was Jara. She looked like a tall insect with silver skin. Do you understand how dangerous this is, human? Most species destroy themselves before they reach the stars. Those who survive learn to be peaceful. But your kind, she paused. You brought your wars with you into space. Chen finally spoke. His voice was calm and clear. Respectfully, Council Member Jara, we brought our survival instincts into space. There is a difference. Vortek slammed one of his hands on his chair. Enough. The Council has made its decision. Humanity will immediately cease all military operations. You will submit to galactic law. You will allow Council inspectors to take control of your weapons. You will do this, or you will be removed from space by force. The holographic display changed again. Now it showed something that made Chen's heart beat faster, though his face stayed calm. It was a massive alien fleet. Hundreds of warships surrounded Earth's solar system. They were already in position. We have given you a chance to surrender peacefully, Vortek said. This fleet has the power to destroy every human installation in your system within hours. Your primitive weapons cannot stop us. Your choices are simple, submit or die. The chamber was silent again. All 12 council members stared at Chen, waiting for him to beg, to ask for mercy, to show fear. That is what other species had done when facing this choice. But Chen did something unexpected. He smiled. It was not a big smile, just a small one at the corner of his mouth, but it was enough to make several council members shift uncomfortably in their seats. May I speak freely? Chen asked. Vortek waved one of his hands. Say what you wish. It will not change anything. You have studied humanity, Chen said slowly. You know our history. You know we fought wars on our own planet for thousands of years. You know we nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times. You know we survived ice ages, plagues, and disasters that would have ended other species. Yes, Jara said. That is exactly why you are dangerous. Chen nodded. You are right. We are dangerous, but you made one critical mistake in your calculations. What mistake? Vortek asked. His voice was suspicious now. Chen looked up at the council. His eyes were hard and cold. You assumed that what you see is everything we have. You assumed that we would be afraid of your fleet. You assumed that we would surrender like the others did. He pulled out a small communication device from his pocket. You have given me an ultimatum. That is fair. Now I ask for something in return. Give us 48 hours to respond officially. Vortek laughed. It was a deep rumbling sound. 48 hours to prepare your surrender? Very well, human. We are not unreasonable. Chen bowed slightly. Thank you, Council Leader. I will send Earth's response immediately. He pressed a button on his device. He spoke only 3 words into it. Protocol Nightmare. Activate. Then he looked back up at the Council. That small smile was still on his face. I suggest you use these 48 hours wisely as well. Perhaps reconsider your position." The transmission ended. Chen's hologram disappeared from the chamber. The council members looked at each other. Something felt wrong. The human had been too calm, too confident. "What is protocol nightmare?" Jara asked quietly. Vortek waved his hand dismissively. "It does not matter. Probably some meaningless code name. In 48 hours, the humans will surrender. They have no choice." But deep in his mind, a small voice whispered a warning. That smile, that terrible, knowing smile. What did the human know that they did not? What they don't know, the council chamber was different now. The tension from yesterday was gone. Now there was celebration. Vortek sat in his chair with a drink in one of his hands. Around him, other council members were relaxing, talking, and laughing. The human ultimatum had been delivered 18 hours ago. Only 30 hours remained until humanity's deadline. "They have not even responded yet," said Council Member Draxis. He was a blue-skinned reptilian creature with sharp teeth. "I told you they would break quickly. Humans are emotional creatures. Fear controls them." Jara nodded slowly, but she did not look as confident as the others. "Perhaps. But that ambassador, something about him bothered me." Vortek laughed loudly. "You worry too much, Jara. I have seen this story 100 times before. A new species reaches the stars. They think they are strong. They think they are special. Then they see our fleet and reality hits them. Within 48 hours, they always surrender." He took a drink and continued. "Do you remember the Krell? They were a warrior race. Very aggressive. Very proud. They threatened to fight us. But when our ships surrounded their homeworld, their leader was crying within 6 hours, begging us for mercy." Several council members made sounds of amusement. "Or the Thaxians," added another council member. "They lasted 12 hours before surrendering. And they were much more advanced than these humans." Jara stood up and walked to the large window that showed the stars outside. "I have been reading about human history. It is disturbing." "How so?" Vortek asked, not really interested. "They have fought over 20,000 wars on their own planet," Jara said quietly. "They have survived 6 mass extinction events. They have nuclear weapons that they actually used on themselves, and they still survived. They still reached the stars." Draxis waved his clawed hand dismissively. "Ancient history. Every species has a violent past, but when they reach space they evolve. They become civilized. The humans will too once we control them." But Jara was not finished. "There is something else. I had our intelligence division scan Earth's communication networks. Do you know what humans are doing right now, while our fleet surrounds them? Panicking." Vortek guessed. "No," Jara turned to face him. "They are calm, too calm. Their news broadcasts are not showing fear. Their leaders are not scrambling. It is like they were expecting this." Before anyone could respond, alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed. The celebration stopped immediately. Vortek jumped from his chair. "What is happening?" A young alien officer ran into the chamber. His face showed panic. "Council leader, our sensors. They are detecting massive energy signatures throughout the human solar system." "What? Where?" Vortek demanded. The officer activated the main holographic display. It showed Earth's solar system. But now, instead of just Earth and a few small human installations, the display was covered in red dots. "Hundreds of them." "Mars," the officer said, his voice shaking. "There are 40 military installations on Mars that were not there in our scans yesterday. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, has 15 more. Titan has 20. There are bases in the asteroid belt. There are weapons platforms hidden in the rings of Saturn." "Impossible," Draxis shouted. "We scanned that entire system. There was nothing there." The officer brought up more data. "They hid them, sir. They used primitive stealth technology. Simple heat shielding, reflective plating, and positioning near natural magnetic fields. Our advanced sensors were looking for sophisticated hiding methods. The humans used simple ones. We missed them completely." Jara's face went pale. "How many ships do they have?" The officer hesitated. "We are still counting, but so far, at least 300 combat vessels, and they are not small ships." The council chamber erupted in chaos. Council members were shouting at each other. Some were demanding answers. Others were calling the officer a liar. Vortex silenced them with a roar. "Activate all fleet weapons. Prepare for—" "Sir!" Another officer burst into the room. "Incoming transmission. It is from Earth. They are broadcasting on all channels. Every ship in our fleet is receiving it. Every station, everyone, block it," Vortek ordered. "We cannot, sir. They have overridden our communication system somehow," a voice echoed through the chamber. It was human. It was calm. It was terrifying in its confidence. "Galactic Council. This is Admiral Maria Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. You have surrounded our home with your fleet. You have threatened our people. You have demanded our surrender." The voice paused. In that moment, every alien in the council chamber felt a chill run down their spine. "We have a counteroffer. You have 47 hours to remove your fleet from our solar system peacefully. If you do not, you will discover why humanity survived when so many other species did not. This is your only warning." The transmission ended. Silence filled the chamber. Then Draxis started laughing, but it sounded forced. "Is this a joke? They are threatening us. They think 300 ships can fight our fleet of 800. But the laughter died when the next alarm sounded. "Sir," the first officer was back, and now he looked truly frightened. "One of our flagships, the Eternal Victory. Something just appeared behind it." "What appeared?" Vortek demanded. "A human ship, sir. Our sensors show it just materialized there. No warning, no detection. It is sitting 300 meters behind the Eternal Victory's engines. At that range, if it fires, he did not need to finish." Everyone understood. At that range, even primitive human weapons could destroy the flagship before it could turn or defend itself. Another transmission came through. This time it was just text on the holographic display. Simple words in common galactic language. "Checkmate. 46 hours, 59 minutes remaining. Humanity." Vortek fell back into his chair. His forearms were shaking. Around him, the council members who had been celebrating just minutes ago now sat in stunned silence. Jara spoke quietly. "We made a mistake. A terrible mistake." "What mistake?" Draxis asked, though his voice was no longer confident. "We thought we knew everything about them," Jara said. "We thought 48 hours would make them panic and surrender. But they gave themselves 48 hours for a different reason." "What reason?" Vortek asked, though he already knew the answer. Jara looked at the holographic display, at all those red dots showing human military bases that had been hidden in plain sight. "They are giving us time to run." The human way 24 hours had passed since humanity's warning. The Galactic Council's fleet remained frozen in position around Earth's solar system. No ship moved forward. No ship moved back. They were waiting, watching, trying to understand what they were really facing. On the bridge of the human warship Defiance, Admiral Maria Rodriguez stood with her arms crossed, watching the tactical display. She was 50 years old, with grey hair tied back in a tight bun. Her eyes were sharp and calculating. "Status report," she said calmly. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant James Park, looked up from his console. "The alien fleet is still holding position. They have powered up their weapons, but they have not made any aggressive moves." "They are confused, Admiral." Rodriguez smiled slightly. "Good. Confusion is our weapon right now." "Admiral," another officer spoke up. This was Captain Sarah Chen, the ambassador's daughter. She was in charge of flight operations. "Fighter squadrons are ready. They are requesting permission to begin pattern chaos." "Permission granted," Rodriguez said. "Let us show our guests how humans dance." Throughout the solar system, human ships began to move. But they did not move like any military force the Galactic Council had ever seen. On the bridge of the Council flagship Eternal Majesty, Commander Zekthar watched his sensors with growing frustration. He was a veteran of 30 campaigns. He had fought pirates, rebels, and rogue planets, but he had never seen anything like this. "Report," he barked at his tactical officer. "Sir, the human ships they are not following any recognizable pattern. Our combat AI cannot predict their movements. They should be forming defensive formations, but instead they are..." The officer paused, struggling to find words. "They are moving randomly." "No, not randomly. It looks random, but there is purpose behind it. Our AI just cannot figure out what that purpose is." Zekthar watched as human fighters swooped past his fleet in wild, spiraling patterns. They were not attacking. They were just moving, but the movements made his crew nervous. The humans would come close, then dart away. They would appear on sensors, then disappear. They would group together, then split apart in all directions. "This is psychological warfare," his second officer said quietly. "They are trying to make us scared." "It is working," Zekthar admitted. "I have never fought an enemy I could not predict." Then something changed. The human ships stopped their chaotic movements. For exactly 30 seconds, everything was still. Zekthar felt his heart racing. What were they doing? Suddenly sound filled his bridge. It was music, but not like any music Zekthar had ever heard. It was loud, aggressive, with pounding drums and screaming guitars. Human voices roared through the speakers in their primitive language. "What is this?" Zekthar shouted over the noise. "They are broadcasting it on all frequencies, sir." His communication officer yelled back, "We cannot block it. It is too loud. It is interfering with our systems." The music was called heavy metal, though Zekthar did not know that. All he knew was that it made his crew panic. The sounds were violent, chaotic, and terrifying to species that had evolved in peaceful environments. And while the music played, human ships attacked. But they did not attack the warships. Instead, they hit supply vessels, communication relays, sensor arrays, support ships. Within 10 minutes, Zekthar's fleet lost 30% of its ability to coordinate with other ships. "They are not fighting like warriors," his tactical officer shouted. "They are fighting like criminals, like pirates." Zekthar understood then. The Galactic Council fought with honor, with rules, with predictable tactics. Humans fought to win, no matter how they had to do it. Far from the main battle, a smaller story was unfolding. Council ace pilot Rathzor was the best fighter pilot in the fleet. He had shot down over 200 enemy ships in his career. He had never been defeated. Today, he was chasing a single human fighter through the asteroid belt near Mars. The human pilot was good, he had to admit. But she made mistakes. She took risks. She flew too close to asteroids. "I have you now, human," Rathzor said into his comm as he lined up his shot. But then the human fighter did something impossible. She fired her thrusters in reverse, killing all forward momentum. Her ship stopped dead in space. Rathzor shot past her too fast to stop. Now the human was behind him. "Surprise," a female voice said over the comm in his language. Rathzor tried to turn, tried to evade, but a blast from the human's weapons destroyed his engines. His ship went dark. Life support was still working, but he was disabled, defeated. You sacrificed all your momentum," Rathzor said, confused. "That is against all tactics. You left yourself vulnerable. What if you had missed?" The human pilot's fighter came alongside his disabled ship. Through his window he could see her. She was young, maybe 25 human years. She had dark hair and was smiling. "Then I would have lost," she said simply. "But I did not miss. That is the human way. We take risks that no one else will take." Her name was Maria Santiago, though Rathzor would not learn that until later. She marked his ship's location for rescue and flew away to find her next target. In the engineering bay of a human destroyer, engineer James Wright was working on a problem. The ship's main weapon had jammed. It was a railgun, a primitive magnetic weapon that the Council considered outdated technology. "Sir, I cannot fix it in time," his assistant said. "We need to retreat to base." James shook his head. "No time. I have a better idea." He grabbed tools and started working. 20 minutes later, he had turned the jammed railgun into something new. Instead of firing one large projectile, it now fired hundreds of small pieces of metal at extremely high speed. "It is basically a giant shotgun now," James explained to his captain. "Will it work?" the captain asked. "Probably," James said with a grin. Only one way to find out. They tested it on an approaching Council cruiser. The weapon worked perfectly. The spread of metal projectiles overwhelmed the cruiser's shields. The ship lost power and drifted away, disabled but not destroyed. "Sometimes old technology works better than new," James said proudly. Back on the Council flagship, Zekthar was receiving reports from across the fleet. They were not good reports. "We have lost 40 support ships. 60% of our communication network is down. Our advanced targeting systems cannot lock onto human ships because they move too unpredictably. And that horrible music has caused psychological damage to over 3,000 crew members." Zekthar closed his eyes. How many human ships have we destroyed? None, sir. Not a single one. How is that possible? They never stay still long enough for us to target them properly. And when we do manage to lock on, they do unexpected things. Dangerous things. Things that should not work. But somehow, they do work. An urgent transmission came through. It was from the council chamber. Ambassador Chen's face appeared on the screen. He looked calm, professional. Behind him, Zekthar could see the council members. They looked stressed. Commander Zekthar, Chen said politely, you have 23 hours remaining. The council wishes to open negotiations. Are you interested? Zekthar looked at his tactical display. His fleet was still mostly intact. They still had superior numbers. They could still win, maybe. But then he thought about the unpredictable human tactics. The music, the risks they took, the fact that they had not even used their full strength yet. Yes, Zekthar said quietly. We are interested. Chen smiled, that same small smile he had shown in the council chamber 2 days ago. Excellent. I will inform Admiral Rodriguez to cease offensive operations. For now, the transmission ended. Zekthar sat back in his command chair and realized something. The humans had not been fighting to destroy the council fleet. They had been fighting to prove a point. They had been fighting to create fear, and it had worked. Warming up the council chamber looked very different from 3 days ago. The confident aliens who had celebrated humanity's expected surrender now sat quietly in their chairs. Vortek's forehands were folded in front of him. His red eyes no longer glowed with anger. Now they showed something else. Respect, and maybe a little fear. Ambassador David Chen stood in the center of the chamber again. But this time he was not alone. Admiral Rodriguez stood beside him, still wearing her military uniform. Captain Sarah Chen, the ambassador's daughter, stood on his other side. Behind them, holographic displays showed the current state of both fleets. The council had lost 43 support ships. Hundreds of crew members were injured, mostly from panic and stress. Their communication network was damaged. Their pride was broken. The human fleet had lost nothing. Not a single ship. Not a single life. Ambassador Chen, Vortek began slowly. The council has agreed to hear your terms. Chen nodded. Before we discuss terms, I believe there is something you need to see. You asked what Protocol Nightmare was. Admiral, please show them. Rodriguez stepped forward and activated a new holographic display. The council members leaned forward to look. What they saw made their blood run cold. The display showed Earth's solar system, but with much more detail than before. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid, and everywhere there were human installations, military bases, weapon platforms, hidden fleets. What you encountered over the last 24 hours, Rodriguez said in a calm, professional voice, was approximately 30% of our defensive capabilities. Jara made a choking sound. 30%? Rodriguez nodded. We have been preparing for first contact with hostile species for 40 years. Ever since we detected alien signals in deep space, we knew this day might come. We hoped for peace, but we prepared for war. She zoomed in on Mars. Mars alone has 63 military installations. Most of them are underground. Your scans could not detect them. Europa has 40. Titan has 35. We have weapons platforms in the asteroid belt, hidden inside actual asteroids. We have ships that can hide in the magnetic fields of gas giants. The display shifted to show Earth's moon. Our moon has the largest military base in the solar system. It can hold 500 warships. Right now it holds 420. Draxis stood up angrily. This is impossible. We have been monitoring your species for 50 years. We would have known. You saw what we wanted you to see, Chen said quietly. Humans are very good at hiding things. We have been hiding from predators for millions of years. It is in our nature, Rodriguez continued. You also asked why our tactics were so unpredictable. Let me explain how humans think about warfare. She pulled up images from Earth's history. We have fought wars on every continent of our planet. In deserts, jungles, mountains, oceans, and ice. We have fought with swords, guns, tanks, planes, and nuclear weapons. We have fought when outnumbered. We have fought when outgunned. And we have survived. She looked directly at Vortek. You follow rules in combat. You use proven tactics. You fight with honor. These are good things. But humans learned a long time ago that following rules gets you killed. We fight to win. We adapt, we improvise. We take risks that seem crazy, Because sometimes crazy is what works. Captain Sarah Chen spoke for the first time. You wanted to know about the music. That was my idea. I studied your species' psychology. Most of you evolved on peaceful worlds. Loud, aggressive sounds cause panic in your brains. So we used it as a weapon, not to kill, just to disturb. It worked, Jara admitted quietly. Chen walked to the center of the chamber. Now let us talk about why we are really here. You gave us an ultimatum 3 days ago. Submit or die. That was a mistake. Not because we are stronger than you, though we might be. Not because we are smarter than you, though we are certainly different. It was a mistake because you did not understand what humanity is. He activated another display. This one showed Earth's history. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, plagues that killed millions, world wars that almost destroyed civilization. Every species in this council reached the stars because you evolved on stable, peaceful worlds. Chen said, you had time to develop philosophy, art, and science. You became civilized naturally. He pointed at the images of Earth's disasters. Humans reached the stars because our world tried to kill us over and over again, and we refused to die. We learned to survive in any environment. We learned to fight any enemy. We learned that sometimes the only way to live is to be more dangerous than the things trying to destroy you. The chamber was completely silent now. Every council member was listening. You think we are violent? Chen continued. You are right. You think we are dangerous? You are right. But you made one final mistake in your calculations. What mistake? Vortek asked, though his voice was much quieter than before. Chen smiled, but it was not an aggressive smile. It was almost friendly. You thought violence and cooperation were opposites? They are not. Humans can be the most violent species in the galaxy, but we can also be the most loyal allies. We fight wars against each other, yes, but when an outside threat appears, we unite. Every human, every nation, every difference forgotten. Admiral Rodriguez stepped forward again. 3 days ago, you threatened Earth. Do you know what happened in the hours after that threat? Every human government activated their military forces. Every private company offered their resources. Citizens volunteered by the millions. In less than 6 hours, our entire species was ready to fight. Not because we love war, but because we love our home, and we protect what we love. Chen pulled out a data chip. This contains our counterproposal. I will summarize it for you now. Humanity will not submit to council law. We will not allow inspectors to control our weapons. We will not limit our expansion into space. Several council members started to object, but Chen raised his hand. However, we are willing to offer something else. A mutual defense treaty, an alliance. We will share our tactical knowledge with you. We will help defend council space against external threats. We will trade technology and resources. We will work together. He paused. But we will do this as equals. Not as subjects. Not as children who need to be controlled. As partners. Vortek looked at the other council members. They whispered among themselves for several minutes. Finally, he turned back to Chen. You must understand our position, Vortek said carefully. We have rules for a reason. New species often make dangerous mistakes. We have lost entire civilizations because they were not ready for the responsibilities that come with advanced technology. We understand your concerns, Chen said. But humanity has already made most of those mistakes. We already created weapons that could destroy our entire world. We already fought wars that killed millions. We already faced extinction multiple times. And we survived all of it. We learned from it, Jara spoke up. If we agree to this treaty, if we give Earth independent status, what guarantee do we have that humanity will not become a threat to the Council? Rodriguez answered. The same guarantee you have with any species in the Council, trust. But if you need more than that, consider this. We just proved that we could have destroyed a significant portion of your fleet. We did not. We disabled ships. We caused confusion. We created fear. But we did not kill. Because we do not want to be your enemies. We want to be your allies.